That Guitar Show, a show for guitar players by guitar players. The guitars, the people, the stories.
Hi, Jim Gaustad here, and welcome once again to the That Guitar Show video forum. Today we're going to do our best to help answer a question from one of our viewers. The question comes from Mindy in Texas. Now, Mindy's husband is a guitar player and huge Jeff Healey fan, and basically he wants to know, how did Jeff Healey get that great tone? And this is exactly the kind of thing we want to do here. So, I've done some research and a lot of listening. It appears that Jeff used Squier Stratocasters for most of the early part of his career, until he started using custom American Strats. Now, he used both single coil pickups, and those would be the Red Evans, and in his humbucker equipped guitars he used Seymour Duncan SH5 pickups, which are voiced like an overwound PAF, and they have a ceramic magnet, so it's kind of an odd duck. But they are very high output pickups, and in a lot of ways the specs are similar to that of the original DiMarzio Super Distortion humbuckers. But he had them wired to coil split, so he could run them as a humbucking single coil with a coil tap switch. But what I hear most on the Jeff Healey recordings are traditional Stratocaster type sounds. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, as far as his amplifiers go, I hear that familiar Marshall tone in most of his recorded music, at least for the guitar solos and the heavier rhythm parts. Now, in my research, I've learned that his go-to amp was a Marshall 2203, which is basically the original Marshall Super Lead circuitry, which is what I got sitting here in the studio, but they have a master volume. Now, the original Marshalls didn't come with a master volume, so you had to crank them to get that classic Marshall sound. And if you've ever had the pleasure of doing that, you know it's not a practical solution. Now, I believe that he set up the amp with a relatively clean sound, and that he relied on an Ibanez tube screamer or something similar to hit the front end of the amplifier really hard. Now, I don't have a tube screamer, but I've got a full drive, a full tone full drive 2. And I've got it set up to sort of emulate the tube screamer. Now, the tube screamer did have a distortion, like an overdrive control, but it also had a drive control. So what Jeff Healey did was turn up that drive control, but just not use a lot of the distortion. So he didn't have the pedal doing the distortion, he was just letting the drive hit the front end of the Marshall a lot harder. And you can do that with almost any tube front end amp or any tube amplifier, Fenders, anything that's got a 12AX7 or something similar in the preamp, you'll be able to get that drive, that overdrive. So what you want to do is just boost the input to the amplifier. So I'll demonstrate. The amp's set up pretty clean. Of course, I had the chorus on. Hang on a second. And then if I turn the guitar up, but the key is here, we got to kick in the overdrive, or kick in the drive, the boost on the front end of the amp, and that sounds like this then. So that's kind of cool. I mean, to me, that's kind of the sound that I'm hearing when I listen to like the Jeff Healey solos, for the most part. Again, I mean, I'm kind of generalizing, but I'm just trying to get you close to where he was. Now, there's also, I hear some what we call squish in his main sound, and the famous pedal for that is the MXR Dyna Comp, but it's really cool on the cleaner stuff, and it's almost more of a feel thing. I don't know that you hear it so much as how you feel it when you're picking and strumming things. And it's just a compressor, but it's a unique little compressor. So we'll kick that in. We're going to keep it kind of clean. You hear country guys getting the chicken picking, which I can't do, but that's done with a Dyna Comp. And I think I hear some of that on the Jeff Healey stuff. So if you kick it all in, so you got the Dyna Comp and the overdrive, or the tube screamer. You can also do a lot with the volume control on the guitar and get different tones out of it too. That's back down about halfway. So that's, you could, the compressor, you know, I hear it, I don't know if it's all that important. And he also ran a chorus pedal a lot. He had a Boss chorus, and that's, I've got a clone here, a Boss clone. Or you can put it in this position here. And I'm sorry if I'm not playing that right, but that's what I hear. There's also a lot of things you do with just a standard Stratocaster with the 5-way switch. You get some really cool tones with that, you know, especially in positions 2 and 4. You get that quacky Strat sound. Chorus is still on, but I think he ran a lot of chorus. So anyway, what I found, you know, through all of this, I think you're better off to stick to a pickup like a traditional Stratocaster pickup. So it's not overwound. You tend to lose the sparkle and the woodiness in the tone when you use the hot pickups. They're great sometimes for articulation when you use a lot of overdrive. But as far as the Jeff Healey sound goes, I don't hear a whole, I mean, there's drive and there's bite in the thing, but it's not this heavy duty distortion kind of thing going on. So anyway, Mindy, I hope that helps. I hope we help your husband get a little closer to that elusive tone, because we're always all chasing tone, and that's a big part about what makes playing the guitar such a lifelong endeavor. Anyway, thanks for joining us today on That Guitar Show's video forum. And remember, if you have any questions or want to see something like we did today, just drop us a line. We'll do our best to get it figured out and get you the best information and answers that we can. So until next time, this is Jim Gausted for That Guitar Show video forum.